Hello there, indie warriors. I'm Literary Rose with I Dream of Indie, and I'm here to give you my review of Ravenous Devils on the PC.
I should clean this from time to time.
Do you like simulation games? Do you like cannibalism and murder? Actually, scratch that, don't answer. Let's restart. Do you like simulation and management games, but find your current selection to be a bit too vanilla? A bit too goody two-shoes? Then perhaps Ravenous Devils is the game for you. Developed and published by Bad Vice Games, you play a murderous couple that just moved into town after almost getting caught for their crimes. Now they seek to re-establish their business of killing and cannibalizing their customers, with the husband upstairs as part tailor, part murderer, while the wife is in the kitchen butchering meat and plating the dishes for pub patrons. The mechanics of the game are fairly simple. A little too simple, in my opinion. You manage a 4-story building, with each story focused on a particular business or function. In the basement is the kitchen, the first floor is the pub, the second floor is the tailor shop, and the 4th floor develops its own unique functions as you play the game. I won't spoil that for you. You scroll through these floors using the mouse wheel to select different actions for your characters, whose abilities are limited to particular floors. The wife can only go into the kitchen and pub floors, and the husband can only be in the tailor shop and the 4th floor. This offers a significant convenience in that you don't need to switch between characters when allotting their tasks. If you click on the dining table in the pub, the only character that can and will respond is the wife. The gameplay loop is focused on managing your 2 characters. In the tailor shop, you need to murder customers to throw bodies down a chute to the kitchen, as well as mop up the blood so you can take in another customer to kill and continue to provide meat for the kitchen. In addition, you also sew clothing made from scraps of cloth you steal from your victims, which you put for sale on mannequins at the front-facing side of the shop. The kitchen is tasked with butchering the meat into various cuts, which are unlocked as upgrades as you play. You start out with a meat grinder and unlimited flour to make mince pies, and only one work table to prepare your meals on. The game is very fastidious about these elements, which is a quirk I found a bit annoying because it slowed down my progress. For example, after you finish putting ingredients for a dish on a plate, you must click the plate again, now that it's completed, to then take it to the oven. It's a little detail, but as I continued playing, it felt unnecessary. There is a plot in the background having to do with a mysterious letter writer that seems to know what you're doing, but this larger plot does not come to fruition until the end of the game. In the meantime, you have cutscenes related to the story, you unlock more upgrades for the shops, and you keep hacking away at your clientele in order to feed them to other clientele. Ravenous Devils is a single-player experience with a gothic-esque art style that scratches a Victorian itch. The visuals were nice, a little bit more classic hand-drawn during the cutscenes, but nothing earth-shattering. They fit the time period of this game and are easy on the eyes, besides the whole macabre part. The only time I felt a bit put off was when the wife would butcher bodies for steak, where the game really pulls no punches. You see every part of the process. In terms of accessibility, the game has many options, so just about any PC can run this game, as long as you crank the graphics settings down to low. I also noted that there's controller support, but I did not test this out and opted for the classic mouse and keyboard approach. The sound design is there, not painful, not impressionable. Again, like the visuals, they fit the theme and time period in an appropriate way and stay comfortably in the background. The only sound-related element I was a bit questionable about was the voice acting. I respect the effort that these voice actors put into their roles, but something about the recordings sounded a bit unpolished, especially with the wife's voice. She had an excellent voice, but it was perhaps a touch too grating with the accents and the volume level. The husband's voice is less loud, but definitely not subtle in its "look at me, I'm an evil gruff killer man" vibes. Yeah, they sounded like caricatures, which isn't a bad thing. Not for me, but it fits the game. I would consider this an easy game. Even with some issues and bugs I encountered, I never had a day without a profit or with my reputation dropping into the negative. It only took me 5 hours to complete the game, which I was a bit surprised but also glad for. I'm not sure I could have played this game for longer, and that's not because of the horror element. I must admit, I was drawn in by the horror simulator murder business conceit, but once you get past that, there isn't that much to the game. The gameplay loop is limited and feels slow, especially the prep time before the next day, and the plot is unimpressionable. At first, I thought I was getting some Sweeney Todd vibes, but the theatrics and drama are not really present in this title. The story is odd, and I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about it. Your characters are villains through and through, but there are points in the game that it feels like the developers trying to endear them to the player, which is hard when the wife is consoling and giving advice to a child whose mother is implied to have been killed by the husband when she came for a tailor fitting. I just don't understand what the game is trying to leave me with. You play bad people doing bad things, and then it ends. Status quo remains unchanged. I also felt a bit uncomfortable with some of the historically accurate choices made, or at least I assume they are historically accurate. Did the child servant of the blue-eyed white guy have to be a black boy who just becomes another tool in the gameplay, versus the other child, a white child, who actually gets to have some semblance of a storyline and characterization? Also, what the fuck? Why is the wife doing so much work? I swear I had the husband just hanging out in his shop for much of my gameplay, while I had her running around to butcher, plate, bake, send food up, attend to customers, etc. This annoyed me not so much because it felt a touch sexist, so much as it slowed down the game because only she could do those tasks. I feel very mixed about this game. It's not bad, but it's not really fun, and in some ways, I think that's even worse than being bad. The fun to be had for me was quickly gone, and I played to the end just out of curiosity to see how the story would go. The ending didn't really do much for me either. I guess I was hoping this title would do something more with their conceit, but it devolved into a slow and standard simulator game.
As fast as I can. Just wait.
Thank you, Indie Warriors and Indie Legends, for watching this review, and for continuing to provide your patronage for this channel. At the Indie Warriors level, we have Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevalo, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, Julian Colbus, Jesse, Ray Lynn, Marky Mint, Dave Hart, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, and King of the Hatch. And at the Indie Legends level, we have Jen Rose, Larkison, Mitchell Hall, Peach, Skepticism, C. Coyle, Nathan Moore, Chris Jackson, Mr. W, Blue Francis 14, The Beeferinis, Business Cody, and Carmine Red. Thank you for your support by watching this video, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any reviews or gameplay impressions. Check out the description box to see how you can become an indie warrior or an indie legend yourself. Help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.